Hello students, I am your educator Dr. Hina Devnani and today we are going to study chapter number 8 of 12th standard, that is human health and diseases. This chapter has been divided into 4 parts and today we will be dealing with the first part. Now before beginning the chapter, let us understand what is the meaning of health. The definition is given here. Health can be defined as state of body and mind which allows a person to function well physically, mentally and socially. Normally, we have this perception that if we are physically well, if we are not having any illness, we are healthy. But along with physical well-being, a person should also have a well-being of mental health. He should also be well socially. That means he should have good social relations with people. His mental health should be good. He should be calm, he should not be anxious. And if there are certain problems in mind, mental problems, that is angerness, anxiousness, anxiety, or any other thing, that means the person is not healthy. So health cannot only be defined by physical means, but it can also be defined or it can also be related by our social and mental well-being. So proper definition of health is given here. A person should be well physically, mentally, as well as socially. There are certain factors which affect our health. The first factor is our diet. If we are having a proper diet, balanced diet, no junk food, then our health can be proper. Our lifestyle plays a very major role in affecting our health. Our social environment, that means what is around us, our work, the timings of our work, the pressure of our work, that affects our health, our state of mind, as mental health is directly related to physical health. If there is any problem in our mind, it will affect our health, our genetic information, because this can lead to genetic diseases. Our physical environment, social environment and physical environment are different. Social environment deals with all the people that are present around us. Physical environment is the environmental condition around us, our economic condition. So all these factors affect our health, and we should take care of all these factors to remain healthy, to lead a proper healthy life. Now, when these factors affect us, our body comes under a state which is called as disease. What is this disease? It is a state when the functioning of one or more organs of the body is affected, resulting in altered physiological state with signs and symptoms telling us that there is something wrong with our health. And this state is called as disease. In simple language, disease is something which consists of some signs or some symptoms, and it tells us that we are not healthy. There is something wrong with our health. And what is happening here? Some of the organs of our body, some of the parts of our body are getting affected by some of the factors that we have discussed earlier. So when these factors affect our life, affect our body, or affect some organs of our body, they will not function properly. And when they are not functioning properly, our body will try to tell us that there is some problem. And when our body tries to tell us something, it tells us in the form of symptoms. So by this, we can understand that yes, there is something in our body, and we denote it as disease. So when we are ill, we say that we are having a disease. Now, these diseases can be of two types, infectious as well as non-infectious. Infectious disease are those diseases which are transferred from one person to another. Non-infectious diseases are not transferred from one person to another. We are going to deal with infectious as well as non-infectious disease both in this chapter, but here in this video, we'll be dealing with the infectious diseases. Now, these infectious diseases, as I said, can be spread from one person to another. And these are generally spread by certain organisms. And these organisms are called as pathogens. Pathogens are the disease-causing organisms. They live inside a host. They enter inside a host. And then, because of their presence, there is some problem in the functioning of certain organs of our body. Now, these organisms or these pathogens are generally microorganisms because they are not visible with our naked eyes. They enter inside our body. They can enter by nose, they can enter from mouth, or they can enter through some other ways or openings of our body. These microorganisms are generally bacteria, fungi, viruses, protozoans, helminthes. You can see in this chart, bacterial diseases are different, viral diseases are different, protozoan, fungal, helminthic diseases are different. Here some examples of bacterial diseases are given: pneumonia, plague, typhoid, diphtheria, and many other diseases. Viral diseases, common cold, polio, and the disease that has been prevailed right now in our society, COVID-19, that is also a viral disease. Diseases from protozoans, amoebiasis, malaria, fungal diseases, ringworm, athlete's foot, helminthic diseases. Helminthic means diseases caused by the helminthus, helminthus, Nemeth helminthus, platyhelminthes. Remember this we have done 11th standard. Yes. So the diseases that are caused by these helminths, these are not microorganisms actually, they are worms. The diseases caused by helminths are ASCARIASIS caused by Ascarias, FILARIASIS caused by the filarial worm, and Teniasis caused by the Tenia solium, that is tapeworm. So these are certain diseases that are caused by these pathogens. Now apart from these, there are many other diseases, but we don't have to go in detail. We are going to study some from these diseases only. Let's start with some of the diseases. First we'll study typhoid. A very common disease, we have heard about this. Typhoid is a bacterial disease. You can see here, this image is of bacteria that causes typhoid. What is the name of this bacteria? Salmonella typhi. You can see here the name is given. It is a pathogenic bacterium which causes typhoid fever in human beings. These pathogens generally enter the small intestine through food and water contaminated with them. That's why they say that drink clean water and eat properly cooked food. Because when we eat cooked food, the bacteria die. They are not able to contaminate our food. And similarly, we should always drink clean boiled water or water that is properly filtered. Okay? Because these bacteria live in water and food. Now they enter our body through food and water and they reach our small intestine. Now we all know that in small intestine villi is present, and from villi the digested food enters the blood. So these bacteria along with the digested food will enter our blood and then they will show their infection. What are the symptoms? Sustained high fever. A person has high fever, 39 degrees to 40 degrees. The person has weakness. The person experiences stomach pain because they enter our digestive system. The person has constipation, headache, loss of appetite. Loss of appetite means they'll not feel hungry. These are some of the symptoms of this disease. Now, these are some common symptoms, but in severe cases, intestinal perforation has also been seen. Intestinal perforation means in intestine, pores will be formed. Minute pores will be formed, and because of that, the whole system will be damaged. Our digestive system will be damaged. And because of that, what will happen? Death. So if there are severe cases of typhoid, the person is not getting proper medications or treatment is not going on properly, the person may also die. Now, how can we get to know that the person is being affected by typhoid fever? There is a test called vital test. This test is important for checking whether the person has typhoid or not. See, you can see some symptoms are shown over here. High fever, headache, weakness. There is also dry cough, stomach pain, constipation, and sometimes rashes are also seen on the body of the patient having typhoid. How to prevent this disease? This disease can be prevented by drinking clean water and eating properly cooked food and not eating junk food that is available outside. The next disease that we'll study is pneumonia. It is also caused by bacteria, Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae. These two bacteria are responsible for causing pneumonia. What happens in pneumonia? The alveoli present in our lungs. If you all remember, In 11th standard, we have done respiratory system. We have studied what is alveoli. After terminal bronchioles, air-filled sac-like structures are present, grape-like structures are present, that are alveoli. So here what happens? The bacteria infects the alveoli of the lungs. Because of this infection, what will happen? The alveoli gets filled with fluid. And if there is fluid inside the alveoli, the person will face problems or difficulty in breathing. And if there is problem in breathing, the person's body may not get enough oxygen, and the body will also not get rid of carbon dioxide. So it is a very severe problem. The symptoms of pneumonia are fever, chills, cough, and headache. If there are severe cases, the lips and fingernails may turn gray, and then they will turn bluish in color. This is a major symptom by which doctors can understand that the person is having pneumonia. Why this happens? Because of lack of oxygen. A healthy person acquires the infection by inhaling the droplets or aerosols released by an infected person, or even by sharing glasses, utensils with an infected person. Pneumonia is spread in the same way like common cold is spread. If a infected person is there, and if that person has sneezed or coughed, the droplets, the saliva will be released in the air, and these will contain the bacteria, and they will be taken by another person, a healthy person, and hence the infection will spread. See here, a person having pneumonia. This is the alveoli of a normal person. You can see here, these are simple balloon-like structures, empty because they are filled with air. In pneumonia, what happens? They'll be filled with liquid. Now, if they're filled with liquid, fluid, then there is no space for oxygen. So the person will not get enough amount of oxygen. How to prevent this? By taking care that you are not coming in contact with an infected person. Third is the most common disease, that is common cold. Common cold is caused by a virus which are called as rhinovirus. They are one group of viruses, and they cause the infectious human ailments, the common cold. Which part of body does it infect? They infect nose and respiratory passage, but they do not reach the lungs. So they are not very harmful, just like pneumonia. It is characterized by nasal congestion. You will not be able to breathe properly. There will be discharge of fluid from the nose, mucus. Your throat will become sore. There will be hoarseness in the throat. That means your voice will become little bit low pitched and thick. You'll have cough, and because of this cough and discharge from the nose, you'll have headache, and because of that, you'll also have tiredness. Common cold is very common. It happens to almost everybody around us. This lasts for 3 to 7 days, and this can be transmitted from one person to another very easily. How? Droplets resulting from cough or sneeze of an infected person will either be inhaled directly, or they can also be transmitted through some contaminated objects like pen, book, cups, doorknobs, computer keyboard, mouse, etc. There are many things which can get contaminated by this virus. And because of that, the healthy person will have the infection. This is the life cycle of common cold. See, on day one, what will happen? When you get cold, you'll feel that your energy is really decreased, you'll have scratchy throat, and your nasal congestion will start on first day. On second and third day, you will have sore throat, your congestion will increase, and you will start coughing. Fourth and fifth day, your nasal discharge will thicken. You will slowly start to feel better, but your sound will become worse. On day 6 and 7, you'll feel less sick. Some cough and cold will be there, but by 7th or 8th day, everything will become normal. Even if you don't take proper medicine and your immunity is very good, this common cold can be treated properly. Talking about next disease, that is amoebiasis. It is caused by Entamoeba histolytica. It is a protozoan parasite, and this parasite lives inside the large intestine of human. They cause a disease called amoebiasis. Amoebiasis is also called as amoebic dysentery, and it is almost similar to the common dysentery. What are the symptoms? Constipation, abdominal pain, there will be cramps in the abdomen, the stools will be released with excess mucus, and sometimes even blood is released from the stools. This release of blood from the stools is the major symptom of this disease. How is this disease spread? It is spread by houseflies. We all know that houseflies are filled with contaminated organisms. So we should always take care that our food is covered so that the houseflies do not come and sit on it. If houseflies will sit on it, they will spread the diseases. So they are the carriers over here, and they serve to transmit the parasite from feces of infected person. The feces will have the parasites, the houseflies will sit on the feces, these parasites will stick to the body of the houseflies, and then these houseflies will come and sit on your food and food products, and then it will contaminate that. Drinking water and food contaminated by the fecal matter are the main source of infection. This infection is spread by this only. So here once again I'll tell that we should have a habit of drinking clean water, and we should always eat properly cooked food, completely cooked food. And once the food is cooked, make sure that you cover the food so that houseflies don't come and sit on it. This is the life cycle of Entamoeba histolytica. See here, humans ingest infective cyst in contaminated food or water, and then it carries out asexual reproduction inside the colon. Here, this is the trophocyte that is formed. This is the cyst that is formed in the stool, and then it is again released. It can also be passed in liquid or soft stool, and sometimes it is not infective. Here, this is infective cyst, and this is not infective cyst. It can also erode from the intestinal wall. Here you can see that is coming out from the intestinal wall. This is the wall. This is the intestine. From here, it will be transferred to liver via our circulatory system. The intestine is having villi, so it will enter the blood, and from blood it will go to the liver, and it will cause disease in the liver, which is known as hepatic abscess. This is the whole life cycle of Entamoeba histolytica, and it makes the person very, very sick. Let's talk about next disease, that is ASCARIASIS. Ascaris. Ascaris is a worm which belongs to the phylum Aschelminthes. Ascaris is an intestinal parasite, and it causes ascariasis. What are the symptoms of this disease? It includes internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia. What is anemia? When there is lack of hemoglobin inside our blood, it causes anemia, and blockage of the intestinal passage. The eggs of this parasite are excreted along with feces of infected person, which contaminate soil, water, plants, etc. A healthy person acquires this infection through contaminated water, vegetable, and fruit. Generally, what happens? This happens in case where the feces are released in the external environment. When these feces will be released in the external environment by an infected person, the eggs of the parasite will be released, and it will contaminate the soil that is present in the external environment, and because of that the nearby plants or whatever vegetation is growing over there, that will be affected, and when we eat that crops, that vegetation, we are going to get this infection. So they are, yes, and if rivers are there nearby, in villages people have habit of defecation in the open near the rivers. So these eggs enter the river water, and when a healthy person drinks this water, that person can get the disease. You can see here, this is the feces. In the feces there will be eggs, Eggs will be embryonated, embryos will be present, they will enter the body, the larva will be released in the intestine. From here, they will enter our bloodstream and they will go to the lungs. Then the larva will mature in the lungs, and from lungs, it will go to our throat, our neck region, and from there, it will enter our esophagus. So, this you have to remember. First, it goes in the lungs. In lungs, it gets mature. From lungs, you can see this is the windpipe. We all know that pharynx is the connection between windpipe and food pipe. So the worm, the larva will travel to the pharynx, the throat region, and from there it will change its pipe. From windpipe, it will enter the food pipe, and then it will be swallowed. Again, it will reach to the intestine, and there it will develop into adult worm. In Gujarati and Hindi, it is called as krumi. In Hindi, it is called as pet ke keede, the worms or the krumi that is inside our stomach. Normally, this happens in small children. The Ascariasis disease is spread in them. How to prevent this? Again, by drinking clean water and by eating proper food, cooked food, and making sure that defecation process is not being done outside the house. The next disease is filariasis. It is also called as elephantiasis. In Gujarati, it is called as hathi pako. The leg, generally it affects the lower limbs, the legs. It becomes very wide, just like elephant. That's why it's called as elephantiasis. Filariasis is caused by a worm which is called as filarial worm. Wuchereria, two species are given here, Wuchereria bancrofti and Wuchereria malai. These are the filarial worms you can see here. They cause a slowly developing chronic inflammation of the organs in which they live for many years, usually the lymphatic vessels of the lower limbs. If this worm has infected a person today, it will show its effect after many years. So it lives inside the human for many years. Now, because it is affecting the lower limbs, it also affects the genital organs of the person, resulting in gross deformities. The shape of the genital organs, as well as the lower limbs, are deformed completely. And how is this pathogen transmitted? It is transmitted by mosquitoes. So here the vectors are mosquitoes. Your homework for today is find out which mosquito is responsible for transferring filariasis. See, you can see the deformity in the leg of a person. This person is having this elephantiasis. Now this filarial worm has two hosts, mosquito and man, human. A person is bitten by a mosquito, the microfilaria will shed its sheath, it will form into larva 1, larva 2, larva 3, and again that mosquito will bite the human, and inside the human the larval form will change into adult. And again it will carry out reproduction, it will form microfilaria, again the mosquito will bite the human, that microfilaria will turn into larva, and again the cycle will continue. This is the cycle of filarial worm, which is also called as Wuchereria bancrofti or Wuchereria malai. How to prevent this? We should prevent mosquitoes for this. If there are no mosquitoes, this disease will not be spread. Moving on, the next disease is ringworm. It is caused by fungus. There are many fungi belonging to the genera Microsporum, Trichophyton, Epidermophyton. These fungi, they are responsible for ringworms. It is one of the most common infectious diseases in man, and it can spread very easily. What happens in this ringworm? First, I'll show you the picture. See, this is the picture of ringworm. When you see this picture, you'll relate to it. Everybody gets this. It is ring-like structure. That's why it is known as ringworm. It can happen on our head, your head, hand, legs, anywhere, and it can also spread like this. So this is ringworm. What happens here? There is appearance of dry, scaly lesions on various parts of the body. It can happen on skin, sometimes nails, scalp. And along with lesions, there will be intense itching and burning sensations. Heat and moisture generally help the fungus to grow. So if there are any skin folds in our body, like between the toes, underarms, the groin region, reproductive part region, and such regions where there is a lot of heat and moisture, especially in summer seasons. So that will be favorable to the fungus and the fungus will grow over there. Generally, from where do we get this? We get this from soil or by using towels, clothes, or even the combs of an infected individual. So these are very easily transmitted simply by using the things that have been used by the person who is infected. This image shows the various ringworms. Now the most important topic, malaria. This has been asked in exams many times. This life cycle of the protozoan causing malaria has also been asked in board exams. So this is the most important topic of infectious diseases. Malaria is caused by a very tiny protozoan, that is Plasmodium. There are many different species of Plasmodium, but four species, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale, and Plasmodium malariae. These four species are responsible for different types of malaria. Now, out of these four species, this falciparum, Plasmodium falciparum, it causes malignant malaria. And malignant malaria, in Hindi, it is called as Zehri malaria. It is a fatal type of disease. It is the most serious one, and because of this, the person may also get death. Now, how is this malarial plasmodium spread? It is spread by female Anopheles mosquito. The female Anopheles mosquito is the vector in spreading malaria. This life cycle is very, very important over here. Same like worm. Filarial worm had two hosts, mosquito and human. The malarial parasite also has two hosts. One is the mosquito and one is the human. This diagram is given in your textbook and it is the most important diagram. Let's start from here. When the mosquito bites another human or a human, sporozoids are injected with the bite. See here, the mosquito is biting the human. So the sporozoids are present inside the mosquito. Afterwards, I'll tell you how these sporozoids have come. Sporozoids will be released inside the human. Now, these sporozoids will reach the liver because the mosquito is sucking the blood. So, this will go to the blood. From blood, it will reach the liver. Now, inside the liver, this will reproduce asexually because these are spores. That means asexual reproduction will go on here. They will reproduce asexually, and one by one, they'll start bursting the liver cells and they'll be released into the blood again. Now, what will happen? Again, they will start their asexual reproduction and they will start bursting the RBCs. See, you can see here. RBCs are bursting, the reproduction is going on, and because of the bursting of these RBCs, the person feels some cycles of fever and chills. We all know that that is the sign of malaria. If a person is shivering, having chills, and cycles of fever, that means sometimes he's having fever, after some time he's not having the fever, he's sweating, and again he'll be having fever. That is because of this stage. The parasite is reproducing asexually and it is going on bursting the RBCs. Released parasites will again infect new cells and again it will burst, again it will reproduce, and this will go on. After a certain time, what will happen? They will start releasing, they will become mature and they will start releasing gametocytes. Gametocytes will be developed over here and they will form gametes. Female gametes will be formed, male gametes will be formed. This stage occurs inside the RBC itself. Now what will happen? These gametocytes will be in our blood. In RBCs, it will be there present. Now, if suppose another mosquito comes and sucks the blood of this person, the gametocytes will enter the mosquito. Inside the mosquito, what will happen? You can see here. Fertilization will take place because gametes were formed. Male and female gamete will be formed, and fertilization will take place inside the mosquito. Again, they will mature over there. After maturing, it will form sporozoids. and these sporozoites will enter the salivary glands of the mosquito. See here. Mature infective stages escape from intestine and migrate to the mosquito salivary glands. They will enter the salivary glands of the mosquito. Now they are having the sporozoites. Again, when these mosquito will bite the human, from the salivary glands, the sporozoites will enter into the human. So in this way, the cycle will continue. Make sure that you learn each and every step of this cycle. This is very, very important for your board exams. Now we have studied many diseases over here, infectious diseases. The common methods of prevention and control of these diseases are given over here. First, maintenance of personal and public hygiene. If you're maintaining hygiene, if you are ready to clean everything, use proper cooked food, use proper drinking water, clean drinking water, you can prevent these diseases. Isolation and quarantine. This quarantine word is used nowadays a lot. We all know that. What is this isolation and quarantine? Suppose if you are having some disease, like even if you're having common cold, stay at home, stay away from other people so that you don't infect them. That is second method. Third, elimination of vectors. Generally, we have seen that the vectors are mosquitoes and houseflies. So try to avoid them, try to eliminate them actually. And they should not get proper breeding places. We all know that mosquitoes breed in stagnant waters. So make sure that there are no stagnant water tanks around your houses. If you're having some places like coolers or water tanks outside your house for cows, make sure that you clean it regularly so that breeding is not going on. Suppose if it is not possible for you to clean it, then you should have some mosquito larva eating fishes like gambusia. It is a fish which eats mosquito larvae. So you should have those fishes in that water bodies. You should also make sure that you are protecting yourself and your family members against these vectors. Like suppose if you want to prevent houseflies and mosquitoes, you should have proper mosquito nets around your house. You should use proper coils and liquids and also many things you can use. Fifth important thing is vaccination. Getting vaccination for various diseases is very important. And sixth is antibiotics. Antibiotics means anti means against, bio means life. That means living organisms. Antibiotics are actually medicines that are against the life of these microorganisms. So if you're not able to carry out all these process, go for antibiotics from the doctors. So here we complete the first part of our chapter. I hope you have understood. If you're having any doubt, you can contact me. And till that, take care and keep studying.